Good morning, heavenly humans out there. How are you this morning? This is the Glenn Cobbin Senior One Heartbeat Podcast. I know it's been a minute, but you know what? Now is the perfect time, I think, because things are going on that I need to face. And that brings me to the topic of the day. This is the Glenn Cobbin Senior One Heartbeat Podcast, where humans, animals, and natures need to coexist. And we got a very peculiar topic that I think that everybody in this world needs at some point in time. And that is the topic of fears. What is fear? Facing your fears. Do you fear yourself? Do you fear others? Do you fear that you're jealous or envious? Or do you fear that you don't have the right capability to handle anything that's going on in your life? Are you scared to face your fears? Well, what a heck of a word to say, huh? Are you scared to face your fear? That don't make no sense, does it? Of course it does. So we have to bear in mind that facing our fears could be something that's really, really dangerous, because guess why? We are in an element right now where the fear factor is turned up so tremendously that we get panicked up, we get scared, we stop listening, we stop communicating, we stop dialogue, we stop responding. We're doing all these things that we need to be doing in order to make sure that we're on the right track. And what is that right track? Who got that right track? Who determined what the right track is? And that right there is something that's really need to be looked at this morning. And believe me, I'm talking to myself first, because at the end of the day, I know I have shortcomings, and I know I have problems that I need to work on myself. But you know what? I'm going to work on them to the best of my ability, and I'm not afraid to work on my shortcomings. So we're going to have to bear in mind that this right here could be something that we can solve together, or something we can solve alone, or whatever the case may be, it can be solved. So we'll see what's going on up in here this morning. But at the end of the day, we got to face our fears, and we got to be cognizant of who we are and who we hurt. Because I know a lot of times people some people can't take it, but some people can dish it out. You know what I mean? Some people can dish it out, and some people can't take it. Some people can take it out and dish it out. But who's to determine who's who or what's what? Well, facing our fears to me is facing something that we don't want to face. Facing something that you think is going to turn out the wrong way. Facing something you think is going to hurt or harm. But so that being said, I feel like we can never do it alone. That don't mean you can't face certain things by yourself. That means that if there is somebody involved with you, or there is something that involves you, or some entity involved with you, or a community involved with you, or your family member, or your spouse, or whoever, then there's something that's going on to really, really, it's going to really, really affect what's going on in your everyday life. And if you don't face it, if you think that you got the answers for it, or you think you're right all the time, or you're stubborn or arrogant, or don't want to be open-minded, or whatever the case may be, then there's things that that's happening out here that we can't handle by ourselves. We can try, and it may look good, or it may feel good at some point, but is it really, really working? And that's what I want to talk about this morning. Is it working? Is it working? And that's the part that who's going to determine whether they work or not. I mean, just think about it. If we think things are working and they're not really working, or then are they working? Or maybe they are. And if it's starting to confuse you, guess what? It's probably not working, or it probably ain't working good. If somebody suggests something you can't take it, or somebody want to help and you won't let them, or whatever that element is that's keep you from staying away from that person or backing up off that person. You know what I mean? I don't understand some things that goes on in my life, and I just try to sometimes I just try to shut up. I try to shut up, because let me tell you something. I can get beside myself too. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. As long as I'm in my little corner, not bother nobody, everything is hunky-dory. But once people come into your element, into your circle, into your environment, into your community, into your partnership, or whatever the case may be, there's an element of fear that lurks in all of us, if we really admit it, in my opinion. And maybe I'm wrong, but I can say with me, oh yeah, there's things that I fear, but with me, I'm not afraid. I think just personally, I'm not afraid to face my fears. I think that change is good. I think facing your fears is something that comes from within, so it can be implemented outside the realm of your physical body, and your soul can marinate in, or your spirit can marinate in that fear to make sure that your physical body can really, really get out there and make something happen. And starting out that little nervousness, I call anxiety. I call anxious. You know what I mean? I don't call it something that's gonna make me make a wrong decision. It's gonna make me feel happy. It's excitement. That's what I'm looking for. I call excitement, and not anxiety. Anxiety is one of those elements that make you anxious and make you disgruntled, or make you double-minded even sometimes. You know what I mean? Because I've been there and I can still get there. So I'm not just pointing the fingers, because I'm pointing back at me. Like I say, if you all listen to my podcast, you'll know one thing about me. I'm going to say it to me first, because I know the things that I talk about, in order for me to even talk about them, I probably have had experience in them, or I read them. I'm pretty studious about reading stuff, and trying to believe in marinating, fasting, and meditating, all that stuff. I try to do that because guess what? Sometimes, man, I be so far off that it hurts, man. And then if it hurts and I don't know it's hurting, I could convey a message to somebody that I love or somebody that I respect and hurt them. And those are not my intentions. Ever, never, never do I intend to hurt any creature out here, any breathing, whatever it is out here. Plants, animals, and humans, we're all one and the same. So if I hurt anybody, I'm hurting myself. Even my enemy. Because the enemy is a part of me, according to what I believe. That's why it's called the One Heartbeat Podcast, because I want to demonstrate how animals, humans, and plants, nature can coexist. And there is a way to do it, But then we have to go above that. See, and this is the part that people fear, going above the things that we can see, feel, or touch. See, when we go above that, the unseen, we're scared of the unseen. We fear the unseen. I said we because I'm talking about me too. But in order for us to take a little bit of that fear away every now and then guess what we have to do? We have to face it. We have to face that fear. We have to face that element of the unseen. We have to face that element of surprise or change even. You know what I mean? We have to face those elements. And if we don't face those elements, guess what happens? There's disgruntled, there's a non-communicative aspect comes in, and the communication stops. Guess what happened? Then it's over. It does not mean anything whatsoever. And that's the part that really, really, that I have to work on personally, because I can communicate pretty good. I believe I can. That's one reason I started this podcast. I got a lot to say. However, there is supposed to be a time and a place to say whatever it is I need to say. I have to work on it. I really do. And, in saying that, I'm not afraid to work on it. I'm not afraid to be wrong. I'm not afraid to face it, and I think that right there, I can say personally that I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I mean, what else can I say? I want to face my fears. I want to make myself a better person. I want to make myself a more just and a more fair individual. I want to be a person that listens and attentively and respectfully. I want to be that guy. I want to be that man. I want to be that individual, that human being, so that I can respect the human across from me. Or I can respect that nature, or that dog, or that cat, or that bird. I want to respect the rain and the snow and the ice. I want to respect these things, I want to respect the trees and the plants and the dirt. In the ocean and the sea and the river. And I want to respect these things, because those things are where I come from. And scientifically, there's no doubt in my mind scientifically that it explains to us that we're, 80% water? So anytime the water rain, I say, I don't like the rain. Guess what I'm saying? I'm saying I don't like myself. I don't like the snow. I don't like myself. And I get there. That's true. Now, that's just the way I look at it. Now, like I said, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to do anything, but this is what I believe that my Creator want me to do, and conveying that message. At least start the conversation, start the dialogue, start the interest, start something that wake people up, and so we can delete some of the fears that we have, because we got children. Some of us are scared of our children even. I've been like that, and sometimes I'm still a little leery, to be perfectly honest with you. So, we talk about children, fearing of your own child. Man, that's something else. You gave birth to the child, made the child, fed the child, clothed the child, gave the child shelter, gave the child direction, talked to the child about God or not talked to the child about God. Whatever the case may be, you have done something that was profound to have a child and the child grow up to disrespect you or don't listen to you or think they can run you or control you. These fears are instilled in us by not facing the fears of our own self. Fear is come from within. The first one we're going to fear is what? Ourselves. So, we have to really, really take a look at it, man. I'm talking to me. Again, I'm going to keep reiterating that I'm talking to me first, because look at here. I got issues like the next person. So I can't sit here and tell you how to go about doing this unless I'm trying to go about that, going about it my own self, So that's what we have, that's one thing that I do love about me. I will go that way. And whether I'm right, wrong, and different, I'm going to face my fears, y'all. That's just what it is. If you know me, if you know Glenn Cobbin Sr., you're going to know that I'm going to face my fears. Anybody. And never, ever in my mind will I hurt another individual purposely. You know what I mean? So that right there have to be all, controlled. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a good thing, because guess what? This right here comes out of my chest. I'm not keeping nothing in my chest that's going to last a lifetime, or last a day, it's going to last a moment for me. I'm not going to sit there and say, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to do that. And if I do it, I'm going to try to rectify it, clarify it, or verify it, or whatever you want, what other kind of fire you want, I'm going to try to get rid of it, because guess what? It's counterproductive on who I want to be. So that being said, let's go to the next one. This is a touchy subject right here, and I know who all my listeners or whoever get this message right here. Let's talk about your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your significant other or your husband or your wife or your partner, your dog or your vatos or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Let's talk about that. How is it? We talked about the children. And the children I won't spend a lot of time on, and this is why. Children, they do what they see and they say what they hear. And once they get of age 12 and up, I believe in my heart that once they get 12 and up, they start developing this thing that this is my world and I don't give a damn who lives in it. And talking about all children, not just the ones that I know and that I have raised or raised, whatever the case may be. No, I'm talking about all children. All children get to that point where they do not want to listen, want to do what they want to do when they get ready. And a lot of us parents, we go for that. Not me. I can understand. I can take something now. I let them get away with some stuff, but boy, let me tell you something. I am the element of surpriser. I was surprised in a minute. So we have to keep that in mind. So, but I won't spend a lot of time on that. What I do want to spend a lot of time on, or just a few minutes on anyway, is significant other. That's China up there. China, come down, girl. She's up there crying. Y'all probably can hear it in the podcast. But guess what? You're going to listen to her too, because she needs some attention as well, because that's my girl. You know what I mean? So, okay, that's the relationship between a male and a female, or your significant other, or your boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever it may be. And hopefully, if it's ever like that, it goes towards the marriage thing, because that's what I'm about, And that's what I'm about. I'm about that marriage, man. Hey, I'm back. I had to take a small little break. China, she's going to be all in this podcast because she's up there whining. Yeah, that's my dog, man. So, anyway, you might hear her bark now because I got her outside. She can stand the heat for about 20, 30 minutes. But you have to take care of it. Can't leave the dog out there too much longer than that, okay? Especially with this heat going on. But again, this is the Glenn Cobbin Sr. Heartbeat One Heartbeat Podcast. It's sponsored by Destiny of Hope and Limbs Limo LLC, which we got to get those excuse me, both entities up and running here. We're talking about relationships and significant others and girlfriends and boyfriends and partners and these type of things. We just got off to the subject of children. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fear that you have with satisfying one another or changing for that significant other, or being part of the change and the growth and development, the GD, the growth and development, which is very important to me. How does that work? How does that fear fit in? I have fear about it sometimes, and because, you never, when you're developing something, minds change, people change, situations change, and most people's fear change, to be perfectly honest. Most people fear change, and that right there within itself can spark something that's going to be a violation inside of a relationship. When you fear change, and you want everything to be your way, because guess what? Your way is a way to make you feel good. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, it can be bad and make you feel better than having to look at it from another perspective. So therefore we have to be ever mindful of, the evolution that's involved in change. The metamorphosis all the way up to the adult. You know what I mean? From the fetus, the embryo, the child, all the way up to the adulthood. Man, change constantly happens. Every day something changes. Nothing stays the same. I don't care who or what you are, nothing stays the same. The only thing that doesn't change in my world is the Creator, God Almighty, Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Most High God. He, the only one that don't change, the only thing that don't change, the only entity that don't change. Inside of a relationship, minds change. Now, there is one that, and believe me, I'm old enough to know that inside of a relationship, whether it be my partner or my wife or my mama or whatever the case may be, there's something going on inside our mind every time we look at each other. The thing about it is, what do you want? What do you want out of it? What do you want? How are you going to deal with that thing that changes? How are you going to deal with that you get old, your skin get wrinkled, your teeth start falling out of decaying or whatever, or you have false teeth or whatever the case may be, or your hair fall out, or, how do you deal with that? Or one of y'all get sick to the point where you become incapacitated, or, one of y'all get sick to the point where, you can't function. You need so many variables to function as a human being. You're not natural no more. It don't come because you need help with everything. How does that change inside of a relationship? How does it change when you want a different car, or the money's short, or the grandchildren want to come stay with you, or you want to take a trip and don't have enough money, or anything like that. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with it? Man, it really is something. Some people can deal with it very rationally. Now, me, for instance, I can deal with it sometime rationally, but sometimes I think, oh my goodness, okay, let me try to lay back and learn some stuff. Because, see, I study a lot, but I might not study the dynamics of something that could make change come in my heart all of a sudden. What I mean by that, I might be studying something about what is love, or the love language, or something like that. What I need to be studying about, hey, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with something in a relationship that involves finances, or involved commitment from the significant other, or you got to go on a trip, so you got to be cognizant of what happens, when the other one's gone, and are you going to step up and man up or woman up to be, take care of the responsibility of the home and the doctor's appointments, and all these things right here. These things are being talked about even in my world. In my world, these things are real, man. But we're talking about fear here. We're talking about fear. If you don't face it, how can you handle it? That's my point. That's my point right there. If you got a fear, or if you got a change that's coming that you don't want, it comes all of a sudden, or it comes in stages, or it comes without you knowing about it, or it was happening before, you know, 10 years before you even met a person, whatever the case may be. How do you fit into that? See, these are the things that I have to face on a daily basis because I'm a relator for one. I know a lot of people. I do a lot of work out here in the community. You know, believe me, I've scaved back some. I stepped back some because I don't want to be in the limelight. I don't want to be on the news. I just want to do what I'm able to do in a very effective and efficient manner. So, but we're talking about fear. We're talking about fear. So how do you overcome fear? Man, it's hard to overcome fear. I mean, so I got a thing on my wall. A friend of mine gave me. You got faith over fear, and that's how you overcome it. All in a nutshell. Faith in what? Now that's another question, right? Faith in the one who created all of it. You know, because I can have faith in a man gonna disappoint you and let you down. We already know. But the only one who ain't gonna disappoint you, if you understand Allah, God, the Creator, then you can't be let down, even at the worst time, because He won't put on you no more than you can bear. But sometimes we as human beings put stuff on our own self, and then we'll call it God. You know what I mean? We'll say God did it. That ain't what it's all about. Now, hold up a minute. Wait a minute. You know, the Holy Quran said, "You think you're gonna get this message of eternity and not be tested?" Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, brought that to the table. I'm not gonna give you this goodness and not test you to make sure you're genuine. So we got to understand that. So, you know, that being said, we have to communicate. When you stop communicating, you stop understanding. Understanding is a rock in which man builds himself. If there's not a solid foundation of understanding and communication, whatever relationship you're in is almost over. You know, but long as you're breathing. Now, I said that to say this: long as you're breathing, if there is an issue, that issue can be worked out. If you truly and genuinely care about that person, that individual. You understand what I'm saying? And you're not fearful of saying, "Hey, listen here. This is why I feel. This is how I feel when you do this, that, or the third. You know, can you not do that to me? Or can you explain why you're doing it? Or am I missing something?" Open yourself up to communication and dialogue. Open yourself up to all these things. That way you understand that don't leave no stone unturned. You know what I mean? So that way, if there's an issue somewhere out there, and there's an issue inside a relationship, or your friend and did this, or your girlfriend did that, or your wife or your husband did that, or your mom and did that, or your children did that, leave the lines of communication wide open. Because if you don't, guess what? It's never going to get solved. So we're talking about facing our fears. So when you close down shop, you know, this is my favorite saying. If y'all ever watch the One Heartbeat podcast, you know that my favorite saying in the whole world, the mind is like a parachute. It only works if it's open. Now, you know, if you get 7,500, 10,000 feet in the air and your parachute closes, you go straight down. Guess what happens? You crash. It's over. You're in a relationship. If you close-minded, you're going to crash. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. I'm talking to me first. And believe me, again, if you watch the Glenn Cobb Senior One Heartbeat podcast, you'll know that I am guilty of everything that I say out of my mouth. So if the shoe fit where, if you throw, and there's another one I'm saying that people don't like, and that's okay. If you throw a brick in a pack of wolves, the one that hollers one got hit. If the shoe fits you, wear it. If it affects you, fix it. That's all there is to it. You know, I'm not here to hold back on nothing I need to say. This is rough, rugged, and raw. Rough, rugged, and raw. Y'all know about me. Y'all know what it's about. And I'm talking to me first. You know what I mean? Because we don't know one individual ever fascinate me about knowing everything. That's how come I can learn from the smallest of creatures up into the biggest of creatures. You know what I mean? The smallest of creatures to the biggest of creatures. I can learn from because I'm going to listen. That's one thing I do know about me. I'm going to listen. So, you know, let's really, really take a hard, long look, hard look of the fears that's inside of us already before we even be in a relationship with anybody out here. I'm talking about from And I go from the top to the bottom. When I start talking about relationship, I always start with the best, and that's the husband and the wife, man. That's the principle that God put out there, the Creator God put out there, that we can live by and build a home with and love one another, cherish one another. When she sing, I clap, and when I sing, she claps. You know, my pastor told me that years ago, man, 20 some odd years ago. She used that analogy, and all that means is that, listen here, you can do it, you can handle it, you know, and so you have to take your time, and it'll happen for you. It'll happen for you. And to me, faith over fear is the answer. Now, that faith got to be in the one who created the fear. Otherwise, guess what's going to happen? It's not going to turn out good. So we always say that, you know, this can be God, that God said, thou shalt have no other God before me. And I'm not trying to turn this into a sermon, but I live by spiritual principles. I live by what the Creator and put in my heart. And that's just me. But He also put in my heart to love nature and to love other human beings and to love animals. So what's in my heart to love is to love my fellow man, to even love my enemy. Now, do I got to hang around him and do all that? No, I don't do all that. But I got to love him. He's still a part of me, even though he's wronged me, didn't listen to me, or whatever the case may be, and hurt me in some kind of way, and I may have done the same to them. I still got to love them, because to love them is to love me. You know what I mean? And to serve them is to serve me, and to serve the one who created me. So, therefore, we have to understand that. Okay, let's go. We're gonna start with fear over faith, right? No, stop a lie. I mean, forgive me, God. Faith over fear. That we're gonna stop with that right there, because I think that's a good stopping point for facing your fear. If you faith in an entity that created the fear, which is God Almighty, in my opinion, to me it's a fact. But others, I won't. You know, there's no compulsion in religion. It's not to stuff it down your throat or anything like that. That's what I live by. You know, faith over fear. And if I do that and I continue to do it, and the faith is in some of the worship one, Allah, the one who created all of this out here, you know what I mean, and in the galaxies. So, you know, so my faith got to be stronger than my fear in order for me to even conquer the fear. And that's just, I can say that 24/7, and I can stand on it. I believe in it. I want it to happen for all of us. You know what I mean? I want you to be okay. I want you to be happy. I want you to be content. And if we got fear in our heart about gas prices, about food prices, about jobs, about paying your rent, the light bill, we got these fears in us already. Guess what? We automatically losing right now. We're losing right now. Ain't no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. So therefore, let's try to remember. Let's have faith over fear. Everybody, you know, hey, we one and the same. Glenn Cobbin Sr., One Heartbeat Podcast, where nature, animals, and humans supposed to coexist. Thanks to Allah that He put on my heart to talk this morning. And I said I was gonna do one yesterday, and I didn't. Today, I'm motivated to do one podcast. I'm gonna keep doing them, inshallah, if God's will, and so that I can have some type of feedback. And I can always be reached at 573-268-5192. I'm on Facebook, Glenn Cobbin Sr., which I don't know a lot about that, but anyway, I'm there. And also my email is gcobbinssr2@gmail.com. You know, I just need somebody to respond to this and tell me what I can do better to help me. Dialogue with me. Come be on the podcast, whatever you need to be. You know, and Limbs Limo LLC and also Destined Hope sponsors this podcast of mine, and that's a good thing. So anyway, I am about coming to the end of the podcast. I want to thank everybody for listening this morning. I hope you get a chance to share. I don't know everything. If I've hurt anyone that knows me, please forgive them, have mercy on me. Those are not my intentions. God said, make amends with your brother before the sunset. And that's what my intentions are. So I will see you when I see you. Peace and plenty of love. Yes.